Kol ish v'kol isha asher nadav libam otam. Okay, it doesn't sound the same as when they do it. I'll try it in English and not sung. Every man and woman whose hearts moved them brings a free will offering to God. In this week's parashah, Vayakhel, we are told of all the gifts our ancient ancestors brought to help build the Mishkan, the traveling sanctuary in the wilderness that lay at the heart of the Israelite community. Gold and silver and copper, blue, purple, and crimson threads, acacia wood, lapis lazuli, even dolphin skins. Luxury goods, a veritable royal treasury, the Israelites unearthed from their belongings and gave with open hearts to God. For the first time, as free people, our ancestors were learning to be generous, to give what they could, to give all that they could. Their gifts turned the Mishkan from a forbidding box into a shared holy space, a sanctuary, our first sanctuary. There are many sanctuaries in the world around us. The literal one that we are in or are watching right now, parks, mountains, our homes or yoga studios, museums or memorials. Any one of these can be a sanctuary. In January, 40 members of the Central community found a sanctuary of a different kind. We were at Kent House, a mansion in London that is now the Westminster Synagogue and home of the Memorial Scrolls Trust. After climbing up a creaking, winding staircase to the 5th floor, which in England is actually the 6th floor, our group of Central travelers sat down in a nondescript classroom to listen to Jeffrey Orenstein. For the next 2 hours, he transported us thousands of miles and decades away. Jeffrey is the chairman of the Memorial Scrolls Trust, which preserves and protects Torah scrolls that survived the Holocaust. Nearly all of these scrolls are Czech and were found after the war in Prague. Since the 1960s, they have been cared for by the Trust. Hundreds, thousands of scrolls were rescued after the Shoah and now find sanctuary in London. And they're also placed in congregations around the world. Jeffrey told us the story of these scrolls, including this scroll right here. He showed us binders and mantles, ritual items that protect Torah scrolls, and he showed us the scrolls themselves. Hundreds of them, which have not been placed in congregations, serve as a living memorial to the Holocaust inside of Kent House. We too were in need of sanctuary that afternoon. We had already spent the day meeting with a leader of the British Jewish community, hearing about demographics and anti-Semitism. We had gone not just to the Churchill war rooms, but inside the exhibits to learn about World War II. It really was so awesome. We had visited Buckingham Palace and communed with some of the greatest artworks ever made by Raphael, by Michelangelo, by Leonardo. We had walked our 10,000 steps and then some. We were tired. We were getting cranky. We were in need of a sanctuary. And at the Memorial Scrolls Trust, we got exactly what we needed. We recharged our souls. We saw the Czech scrolls, and other items that had survived the Holocaust. We felt a connection to these objects as we heard their stories. We listened with our ears and our spirits to a heartbreaking rendition of the memorial prayer, El Male Rachamim, for the Shoah, chanted for us by my trip co-leader, Cantor Mutlu. Jeffrey, the chairman of the trust, shared so much with us during our time with him, and he asked for only one thing in return: that we remember. That we remember what happened to these scrolls, these survivors of the Shoah, and remember the communities they came from and the people whose lives were lived in proximity to these scrolls, many of whom were not as fortunate as the scrolls themselves. Jeffrey asked us to offer the gift of remembering. In this week's parashah, God asks our ancient ancestors to offer gifts: gold and lapis and crimson thread, the finest materials these former slaves had with them. These gifts meant so much because they were precious, not because they were expensive. They came from the heart. And together, these gifts built the Mishkan, a shared place of sanctity. Had the Mishkan been built without gifts from all of our ancient ancestors, it would not have been a sanctuary. It took the gifts of all of our ancestors to make it holy. If we didn't offer the gift of remembering, this would be nothing more than an old roll of parchment and ink. Elie Wiesel, our modern prophet, told us, humanity needs to remember more than ever. Remembering sanctifies this holy scroll and hallows the memories of those Czech Jews who once kept it safe and close. Remembering is a gift that all of humanity can give. It is a gift each of us can give. Like the generation of our ancient ancestors, if all of us in this generation choose to give the gift of remembering, we can build a new Mishkan. Together we can build a sanctuary of memory. Shabbat Shalom.